So we're going to cover some of the pentatonic modes, and I want to cover this in a way that we're just going to deal with simple triads, because most of the time if you run across instructional videos, they usually start using it with jazz theory or guitar licks, and nobody ever runs through what, you know, the triadic aspect of it. And this is actually something that has been used in history. The Lark Ascending, I don't know if anybody knows that or not, from Ralph Vaughan Williams. The first minute is the Dorian pentatonic. So we're going to deal with this, and I want to also use this in the film score scale series, because I do use this a lot. So if we take D major and we just form the first 5-note pentatonic, the major pentatonic, most people probably know this sound. Just using basic triads from D major and the pentatonic scale above, major pentatonic, very pleasant sound. This works out really well. It's very pleasant sounding. And so if you take the relative minor of D major and use the same pentatonic scale, this is what we're leading up to, it would be B minor with the relative minor of D major. Well, that's you could use the same exact concept of using any chord from that scale. So if you play it like a B minor scale and then take out the 6th degree and the 2nd degree, those are where the half steps occur. It's much darker and sadder. So with the pentatonic, B minor pentatonic, it's a little bit lighter because it lacks those two tones that make the natural minor or Aeolian dark or sad. For instance, just kind of random jamming on B minor pentatonic using the chords from B minor. Sounds much lighter than using that 6th and 2nd degree, okay? So let's re-add the flat 6 and the 2nd degree and play in regular B Aeolian. So it sounds, you notice that very essence of it, unlike this, is so much darker without that degree and without that degree, because it's missing those half steps. So with those degrees in regular Aeolian, it could sound often pretty dark and so this is just to prove a point that the pentatonic scale tends to make things sound lighter, especially with triadic music. So let's go back to D major. Okay, the 2nd mode of D major is E Dorian. So we take D pentatonic and then go to the 2nd mode of that. That's E Dorian pentatonic, using the same note makeup, just like you would with normal major. Dorian, major, Dorian. Same concept. You're moving that pentatonic shape just like you did to the relative minor, and that became the minor pentatonic. So regular Dorian triads. Just playing in regular Dorian right now. Just like B minor or D major, we can use the same triads underneath of the Dorian pentatonic. So going through the Dorian chords and playing the Dorian pentatonic, you could use any of these chords, these triads, and use this scale. So we're dealing mostly with tonal Dorian. And that's why I did minor and major pentatonic first, just show this is the same concept. So if we do something like this, 1, 4, just using 1, 4, 1, 4, and the Dorian pentatonic, has a very nice sound to it. It's very lovely, in fact. So let's take normal Dorian progressions. 1, 5, 4. Okay. Maybe 1, 7, 5, 4. Okay. You could use these any Dorian progression you want with that pentatonic scale. Let me do it musically. So it creates a whole different melodic way to play melodically. Maybe do a pulse like this. Meant for higher tempo. That would be kind of Debussy-ish, actually. So we're not limited to that kind of music, though. You could use this same scale in rock. You could also hold basic triads above and use the pentatonic scale in your below parts. Maybe the melody, you know. And Ralph Vaughan Williams would do a lot of stuff like that. Switch it up to the melody above in pentatonic and basic triads below. I'm not talking about with piano, okay? I'm talking about just in general with parts, any instrument class. So when it comes to basic triadic music and Dorian, you can use this scale just as freely over triads, just like you could in natural minor or major, and using the major pentatonic or minor pentatonic over the minor. You could do it below while holding triads above. So that's the whole point, is that this is exactly the same as using the other pentatonic scales, really, except the arrangement is different. They're the same notes as the major pentatonic scale and the minor pentatonic, but you're using Dorian chords instead, triadically. This is the part I want you to understand. We're not going to cover any jazz concept because that's all over the place, or guitar riffs, because that's also all over the place. We're just basic triadic music. And if you're really interested, go listen to like the Lark Ascending. The first few minutes of it is the Dorian pentatonic. Very lovely. In fact, quite a bit of that piece of music is Dorian based, and with both minor and Dorian pentatonic. So, all right, I'm going to cover the other pentatonic scales later, the minor and the major, more in detail, because you could use those over specific modes. So it gets kind of interesting with pentatonic scales. So just think of this as, you know, literally taking the major scale. Okay, you move to the second degree, that becomes your new home plate. That's Dorian. Well, you take the major scale again, create your major pentatonic, move that to the second degree, use the same exact note setup, and it's Dorian pentatonic. It's not any more difficult than that. That's how easy it is. You could still play all the Dorian chords, but use that as your melody content, just like you can in major or natural minor. And I wanted to again cover this with basic triadic music because it's not very common when you search for it, but you search for like jazz concepts and using this scale, or guitar licks, it's all over the place. So, and I'm a guitar player too, so piano players, forgive me, I always say that. All right, enjoy. I'm going to move on to another pentatonic scale.